This week, we have two really great questions from a group of Year 9 students in Hampshire. Their first question is, why is killing an animal more important than killing a tree? And their second question is, what is life? Now, I think we can answer both these questions together because they're related. So if we start off and thinking about what is life, we can think about what things are alive. We talk about human beings, animals, and plants. And normally, we organize these things in a kind of ranking system where the human beings are at the top, sort of the best. And then underneath that, we've got animals and then plants. Now, I think this group of Year 9 students is very clever because normally people focus on the difference between humans and animals. And while that isn't an easy question to answer by any stretch of the imagination, it's a question that philosophers have spent a lot more time thinking about. Fewer people have devoted their attention to the division between animals and plants. So if we think about human beings as animals, because that's what we really are, we could say that one thing that separates humans and other animals from plants is the ability to feel pain. So there might be a different kind of moral significance in causing the pain and suffering that would be experienced by a human or an animal versus the destruction that could be caused by cutting down a tree. Now, that's not to say that there isn't any moral significance to the cutting down of a tree, just that it has received much less attention from philosophers, and that it's probably of lesser moral significance than harming a human or any other animal. Now, I should also say one of the things that philosophers like to do is to flip a question around and say that maybe a better way of thinking about this is what kind of moral responsibility do we have to plants as well as to other animals and other humans? We tend to think about our relationship to other animals. I'm a vegetarian. More and more people are vegetarian and vegan. But we spend a lot less time thinking about our relationship to plants. And as more philosophers are devoting themselves to thinking about the problems of climate change and the environment, I think we'll see this change. Now, one question that I haven't answered yet is, what is life itself? And that's a big question. I don't know that I have a very good answer, but I will tell you one of my favorite answers, and that comes from a philosopher named Baruch Spinoza. Spinoza is an amazing philosopher. He can be a little bit challenging to read, but I find his ideas some of the most interesting and challenging that I've ever encountered. And Spinoza defines life in terms of Konatus. This is a term that Spinoza uses to refer to the fact that life always wants to continue. There's a kind of inertia, if you know that term from physics. Life always wants to continue to push on, to have more of itself. It has a sort of a force or a power behind it that wants to continue. And so I think that's a really interesting way of thinking about life. We could put it in a kind of cheesy way and say that life always finds a way. But the underlying message is that what life is this kind of driving force which always seeks to continue and to find some kind of fulfillment. There's a drive there that is shared by all living things, whether they're humans, animals, or plants.